All right, this is our tweet of the night brought to you by Xfinity Mobile, the standard, and this is pretty much what we're talking about next year. These are all the picks the Steelers will have, 12, including 3 in the third round, and then 2 each in the fourth, fifth, and sixth round. And as you know, this thing is coming to Pittsburgh. It could be a massive week of expectation, hype, and then eventually maybe the pick that sends them into what they want in terms of a franchise quarterback. That's going to be something that has to be solved sooner rather than later. We'll get into that, but right now, Chris, I've taken 2 songs along. I apologize. We're going to go right to the phones because we have a lot of people. Beginning with Matt and Green Tree. First up, hey, Matt, go right ahead.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, I wasn't too thrilled hearing about Pickens being traded just because of his talent. And I'll just say this: like, we knew going into that draft that he had behavioral issues in college. That's why he dropped to the second round. And another interesting tidbit is, in the past 3 drafts, we traded away. I mean, we traded for the number 1 pick. We got Pickett. He failed. That was supposed to be a reach. Same draft. We lost our second round pick now with Pickens. And the year before that, 24th overall, we draft Najee Harris, who had 3 1,000 yards rushing seasons in a row, despite 2 different offensive coordinators. And then we trade last year's second-round pick, this past year's in the draft, for an aging yet talented DK Metcalf with salary implications.
Matt, if your bottom line is that the drafting has not been good, that's true. I mean, that's pretty much the lifeblood of any team, especially in football, or all sports for that matter, especially if you're talking about the Pirates have to get it right and they haven't. But in this case, yeah, it's not a good thing. And they've had other guys still on the roster who have not lived up to those kinds of potentials, like DeMarvin Leal and others. So, that's a situation that's got to get better. And they're going to have 12 picks. What do you make of that, Chris? Do you think everybody's talking about ammunition for next year moving up? It makes sense if you look at it from that point of view.
I would like to clarify that I think there's at least been a direction. Fautanu's injury, Jones being played out of position have impacted my ability to give a real grade for the Weidl and Kahn drafts, but I think it's very fair to say now, because we have plenty of distance in between the last Kevin Colbert draft and present day, that Kevin Colbert's drafting went downhill in his last several years. I think that's inarguable. I think one guy, first-round pick, has gotten a second contract since the 2017 season, and that would be Watt. Just really bad stuff in the drafting. I got off on a tangent there, Bob. So as far as the 12 picks, you maybe have to move up and give your first and swap first and throw a second in if you really want to move up near the end or near the top of the draft. Then you can make a first-round pick and then 3 third-round picks in a row. You can mess with those 5th-round picks. I'd say they're going to pick 8 players with those 12 picks, so I think at least 4 of them will be used to move around the chessboard. Yeah, that makes sense to me, but that's what you're going to do if you're going to be in that position. All right, we have this tweet here from True American Ohio, who says, is the clock counting down toward the imminent firing of both Ben Cherington and Derek Shelton? Likely, but the question is when. Let's go back to the lines. We have Bob in Indiana who would like to talk about Pirates. Hey, Bob.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. What's going on?
Hey, I have a proposed trade for you. Keep in mind, you have to get somebody, you have to trade somebody. You have to, so it's almost you're hoping for maybe a win-win situation for both teams.
You're not going to say Paul Skeens, are you?
No.
Okay.
But it's probably going to come down to that eventually. It's probably what's going to happen in 2 or 3 years, but not right now. I would trade Bubba Chandler for Roman Anthony to the Boston Red Sox. I looked at MLB at bat, and Anthony looks like he's a really top-notch player.
Well, we've talked about that, Bob. Thanks for the call, Chris. To me, that's an avenue they rarely explore. I mean, I know they traded Luis Ortiz to get a first baseman we haven't seen yet, but generally speaking, they want to protect those pitchers, and on the surface, I understand why. But in this situation, given the lack of bats in their entire organization, until you go down to Tamar Johnson and maybe even Griffin, the kid they drafted this year, but he's a few years away. You need help.
I wouldn't trust Ben Cherington to butter 2 pieces of toast without burning the house down right now, so I really don't want Ben Cherington trading one of the few useful players that might exist in their minor league system and then correctly identifying somebody else's big-time talent to acquire in that trade, which is why, again, I wouldn't employ Ben Cherington right now if I were in Bob Nutting's shoes. And I certainly, if I were going to keep him employed, would just have a gag order on him where he's not allowed to make any moves. I mean, I have no idea why he is still the Pirates general manager. I know that's so harsh. I keep saying it over and over again. There is no reason for this man to continue doing this job. He has done a horrible job. He's not going to do a better job. 7 out of his 9 years as a GM in 2 places, his teams have finished in last place. Like, let's end this experiment. It's getting very frustrating, and that part of this whole equation is starting to reflect very poorly on Bob Nutting, who was the man who said there is an urgency to win a couple of years ago. He's not acting like it as the owner.
No, and he said he's given them everything they need to succeed, and that hasn't happened either. So if he says those words and means those words, then he should be upset and do something about it. Let's go back to the lines. We got Tom in Lower Borough. Hello, Tom. How are you?
Good, Bob. Listen, I really, there are 2 things in particular I want to talk about. One was the Pickens trade. I have no problem with the Pickens trade, except for I don't think the Steelers should have given up the 26th draft pick, the 2026 6th-round pick. I think, getting 2 draft picks for him would have been good. You'd like to have gotten a second. I realize that he's somewhat damaged goods, but they got a 3rd, which is good.
Why are you worried about giving up a 6th-round pick in a draft they already have 12 picks to use?
And they have 2 in the 6th round, so still 2.
Like, do you think that there's 3 Antonio Browns growing on a tree somewhere that are going to be all plucked in the 6th round, and you can restock your wide receiver core? Like, since when did 6th-round picks become so precious?
Of course not. It's a matter of having that capital going into the draft. Okay,
I understand that, but they have 12 picks as is. Like, do you really need one more 6th? Is that going to put your capital rating over the top here for this draft?
And that wouldn't have prevented me from doing this. Even if I have to flop, go from 26 to 27, whatever that was. That to me was just trying to get the deal done. If that's the case, I'll be very interested, however, to watch what he does in Dallas very closely, and that's something we'll monitor. And also, here in Pittsburgh, who is the guy to step up? I don't think they're done here, Chris. They need some help in that wide receiving core because you find yourself essentially in the same position as last year. You have a number 1, a better number 1, don't get me wrong, but then you need someone else too. And whether it's Calvin Austin or whatever else they have there, Roman Wilson, can you bank on him? I'm sure they think he can step up and do that, but until you see it, you really don't know.
Or it could be a random guy on the Green Bay Packers who seem like they have to get rid of at least one wide receiver from their team. Dobbs, although he's got injury history. Dontavian Wicks is another name. I would take almost any of those guys as a roll of the dice.
What about
Or it
Alan
could just
Lazard?
be one of the Aaron Rodgers super friends.
Alan Lazard.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it could be an Aaron Rodgers super friend like Alan Lazard. Can we dust off random Packers receivers from yesteryear? Is Jordy Nelson doing anything right now? Can I interest you in a gently used Robert Brooks from 1995? I don't even think he played with Rodgers, but let's just keep rolling out guys. Is Don Hudson? Pony brought him up today. How many Packers receivers can you name, Bob?
Go all the way down the list there with all those guys. Anyway, we're up against the break. We got to take it. Come back with more right here on KDKA-TV 93.7 The Fan. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.